Speaking of game times, Jordan, the Clemson LSU game was just announced to be played in the Death Valley at 7:30 on ABC. Going to be the prime time game of the opening weekend for the ABC's time slot. Our Clemson Tigers taking on the LSU Tigers in the real Death Valley. For all of those LSU fans out there, it was Death Valley long before you ever thought about calling yours Death Valley. So stop copying us. I don't know what to tell you. You can beat your SEC check. Yes, you play in a better conference. Yes, half of your fan base doesn't speak English. Yes, you have more alligators than us. Yes. But no, you do not have the real Death Valley. Our Death Valley was dubbed Death Valley long before you ever thought about it. Speaking of not speaking English well, your stadium was originally called Death Valley, as in I can't hear deaf, not death. So, Again, shout out to Louisiana. A little bit of a language barrier there, but Death Valley and Deaf Valley, two different things. Just food for thought for the LSU fans. Feel free to get into the comment section and tell me all the reasons that I'm wrong. But you know it's true. I know it's true. All right, Jordan, let's get to the game. LSU, Clemson in the real Death Valley, Clemson, South Carolina, 7:30 kickoff. We've talked about this game a couple times this offseason, but I'm so jacked up. I'm so excited now because it's officially the primetime slot, a night game in the Valley. This is going to be electric. No love lost between the two fan bases, obviously, with the back and forth. But this is going to be an exciting game. It's going to be an absolute mob there for outside of the stadium and the tailgate scene, but inside the stadium as well. It's going to be an atmosphere that people are not going to want to miss. So your thoughts on the official announcement of it being that primetime 7:30 game and being a night game in the Valley?
Yeah, I'm just happy ESPN did the right thing.
Yeah,
I mean, ultimately, that there's no reason why this wasn't the primetime game. I get you got Ohio State and Texas, but this environment, the environment that Clemson was going to bring with a team like LSU coming into town. And the fact that Clemson, you haven't seen Clemson or Death Valley in the prime time slot in a game of this magnitude and really about what 9 years if you go back to Louisville and even 12 years when you go back to when you played Georgia at home. Like you haven't had, especially a home opener.
Yeah,
like this you have not had a game of this magnitude in the Valley in quite some time. And so there is no reason why this wasn't the primetime game. I'm glad they did the right thing. This is what college football needs, because this is going to be one of the it's going to be something to behold. Like there's no doubt about it. And I plan to be there, so I can't wait to kind of experience that in person. I've been a part of some really great atmospheres at Clemson, but this one might be an all-timer.
Yeah, this is gonna you hope that the game holds serve for it, but this is going to be an absolute insane environment. And you're right. Shout out to ESPN for doing the right thing. It's the right game to put there. It's going to be electric. Clemson running down the hill, the smoke, the fans cheering, the light show going. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere, and I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be, man, I'm so jacked up for week one. I wish it was this coming Saturday, but it's not. But I am excited that Clemson gets to showcase once again on a national stage how special of a place it is in Death Valley. And I mean that sincerely. It's a very unique environment. You don't really understand it till you go there. And yeah, I'm a Clemson homer and blah, 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 blah. But, I always question NFL fans, and I'm like, you just don't get college until you like actually go to a college football game, and that atmosphere on that August 30th night in Death Valley is going to be picturesque of like why all of us love college football to the level that we do. And every fan base has got it in their own stadium, right? But Clemson's special to us, so that's like I get jacked up for games like this. Like it gives you goosebumps when you're a part of environments like that. You will never sit down. You can't hear after the game. You can't even think straight. It's so loud most of the time. But it's an electric environment. I can't wait. I know this team's going to be jacked up and ready for it. And I know LSU is going to be jacked up and ready for it too. They would love nothing more than to come in to our stadium and steal one on national television and then claim that they're the real Death Valley, which I already told you guys at the beginning. If you forgot, just go back to the beginning of the video. I explained it to you.
They probably did. They don't – they don't retain information as well as some of us down there. No, but seriously, like it's going to be special. I mean, I think just from a Clemson standpoint, I think this is what the university needs because there's certainly been just there have been complaints and kind of a watering down of the atmosphere in recent years because of all the changes. They haven't been filling up the hill the way that they used to.
They better fill it up now. Yeah. After that Savannah Bananas game. I don't want to hear it no more.
Yeah. No more excuses.
Fire hazard. Nah. No. They better fill up that hill for that one.
Yeah. They got to fill up the hill. Like, as much as I think Clemson has done a lot of things that they need to do to, keep up with the times in college athletics, you can't lose the common fan. And, some of the things that have been frustrated, I've seen, Clemson do over the years, I think has alienated, some of the common fan. They've catered more to, the booster member and IPTAY members and stuff like that. And I think that's important. I mean, because
of course
they keep your program, running.
That's where your money comes from.
Yeah.
You gotta keep those people happy.
Yeah. But at the same time, those are not the majority of the people in that stadium.
Not even close.
Not even close. So like you need to keep the main thing. Yeah. I think. And that's what I'm hoping this game does for Clemson football is kind of a reset from that aspect and kind of brings everybody back into the fold again.
Right.
Because you just haven't had it. I mean, I thought, you've had some moments. I thought, I wasn't at the Florida State game in 2023, but I thought that was a phenomenal atmosphere. You could hear it on the TV. I was at the 2022 NC State game. That was a top 10. That was a great atmosphere, but we haven't had those types of games and those types of atmospheres as consistently because because of some of the changes that they've made. And obviously this LSU game, you've seen the ticket prices. It's going to cost you a pretty penny, but
ready to cash in the equity on your home, take out a second mortgage, sell a car. I don't know, sell a kidney. I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but you might have to if you want to go to this game.
Yeah, I mean, shoot.
Or just start panhandling on the corner every weekend between now and August 30th.
Yeah, and especially with ticket scalpers, it's gotten so bad too because it's made things like a million times more difficult. So
I remember when me and my dad used to go to games and like we wouldn't plan anything. Like we'd wake up on a Saturday morning and he'd be like, "Hey, we're going
to the game,"
and drive up there, and there'd be people outside the stadium selling tickets, and we just grab 2 tickets and go in. And it wasn't a big deal, but I can't imagine doing something like that today.
No,
you'd have to give them a brick of gold or something.
Yeah, I know. You'd probably give them your foot
Well, here's the keys to my car.
Here's my wife.
Yeah.
Like it's just That's just like
it's out of control. But
yeah,
you know, there's no shortage of storylines heading into this game either. Like it just feeds into the environment that you know it'll be. You know, like the clashing of the fan bases online, the trash talk between the Death Valleys. You know, the two Tigers, right? SEC, that whole thing. You know, and then it's going to be a crazy environment. You think about Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier. We may not have had quite that clash of highly thought of, highly ranked QBs since Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson in Death Valley, right? So that's a huge storyline going into it. Obviously the battle of the can't win openers. That'll be played out on the field between Kelly and Dabo. So we'll see, man. There's no shortage of storylines. It's going to be fun. The question is, will College Game Day be there? I'm still going with no. I still think they'll be at the Ohio State game. That's just my thoughts. But I guess it wouldn't surprise me if they were there. But I just feel like ESPN's not going to be able to resist the storyline of letting Lee Corso go out the same place that he started the whole thing. Yeah. And that's why I think otherwise they would come to Clemson on that opening Saturday. But I think because of the Lee Corso thing and it being his last show, I think they'll still go to Ohio State.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And, it screams, it's exactly what they would do. I mean, especially now that Texas is in the SEC, like they have even more incentive to do it from an ESPN standpoint. And these are the two of the biggest brands in college football. So, that's just what they're going to do. And, obviously they probably, and honestly, they probably don't want to have Lee Corso out there too long, during the day. If they were at Clemson, obviously the game wouldn't be played until,
right.
7:30. So it's like, do it. He picks whatever a mascot helmet he picks, and then just call it a career. Yeah, but we'll take the wins where we can get them. Because we were before we weren't even sure this was going to get the primetime slot.
Yeah.
So
I was definitely hoping for it, but definitely excited now that it's been officially announced that it's the primetime slot, and rightfully so. Excuse me. This is a huge game, so I'm excited for it. I know you are as well.